The grand hall floated in the darkness of space like a giant crystal. Inside, representatives from 847 different alien species sat in their seats. The hall was huge. Lights from 1,000 worlds reflected off the walls. Today was an important day. Today, the Galactic Council would vote on humanity. Ambassador Tae-yang sat alone at the human table. He was an old man with gray hair and tired eyes. Around him, aliens whispered and pointed. Some laughed. Others made angry sounds in languages he did not speak. He understood them anyway. They all wanted the same thing. They wanted humans gone. Tae-yang looked at the data chip in his hand. It was small and silver. Inside was a video. A video that showed the truth. But nobody wanted to see it. They had already made up their minds. Counselor Vexithara stood up. She was tall and covered in green scales. Her eyes were yellow like a snake. When she spoke, her voice filled the hall. "We are here to discuss the human problem," she said. "Humans are dangerous. They are violent. They do not follow our rules. They fight when they should talk. They attack when they should retreat. They are like the ancient Krell Empire that almost destroyed our galaxy 10,000 years ago." The hall erupted in noise. Aliens shouted in agreement. The comparison to the Krell made them afraid. The Krell had been monsters. They had burned worlds and killed billions. Was that what humans were? Minister Kale stood next. He had 4 arms and looked like a giant insect. His voice clicked and buzzed. "I have proof of human violence," he said. 3 months ago at Kepler Station, a human warship attacked refugees. Innocent people died. Hundreds of them. The humans say it was a rescue mission, but we have seen the wreckage. We have seen the bodies floating in space. Holograms appeared above the council floor. They showed Kepler Station, or what was left of it. The station was broken into pieces. Fires burned in the wreckage. Bodies drifted among the debris. It looked terrible. It looked like humans had done something evil. The human captain who led this attack was named Ha-Un. Kyle continued. She ignored council orders. She disobeyed the quarantine. She chose violence over peace. This is what humans do. This is why they must be stopped. More aliens stood to speak. Each one had a story. Each one painted humans as dangerous, as unpredictable, as a threat to galactic peace. They said humans started fights. They said humans could not be trusted. They said humans would bring war to every peaceful world. Finally, Vexthara looked at Tae-yang. "Does the human representative wish to speak?" Her tone made it clear she did not care what he had to say. Tae-yang stood slowly. His old bones ached. He had been a diplomat for 40 years. He had negotiated peace treaties and trade agreements. He had always believed in talking and finding common ground. But today he knew talking would not work. "I have evidence," he said quietly. "I have video from Kepler Station. The real video, not the edited version you have shown. If you watch it, you will understand what really happened." He held up the data chip. Kale laughed. It was a harsh clicking sound. "Human propaganda. We will not waste time on lies." "It is not propaganda," Tae-yang said. "It is the truth." Captain Hyun was not attacking refugees. She was saving them. "If you just watch—" "Enough!" Vexthara's voice cracked like a whip. "We have heard enough human excuses. We have seen enough human violence. It is time to vote." The hall fell silent. Tae-yang looked around at hundreds of alien faces. Some looked angry. Some looked afraid. None looked willing to listen. "Before you vote," he said, "I want you to know something. You do not understand humans. You think we are violent? You are right, we are. But you do not understand why. You do not understand what makes us fight." He paused. His hand closed around the data chip. "You do not know what humans become when you threaten the things we protect. You do not know what we are willing to sacrifice. You are about to ban us from the galaxy. You are about to send us home, but you do not understand who you are sending away." Vexithara ignored him. "The vote will now begin. All those in favor of banning humanity from colonization and restricting them to their home system." Lights appeared throughout the hall. Green lights. Hundreds of them. Each one was a vote against humanity. Tae-yang counted them. 723 votes to ban humans. All those opposed? 89 red lights appeared. Not enough. Not nearly enough. "The vote is decided," Vexthara announced. "Humanity is hereby banned from all colonization efforts. All human colonies must be evacuated within 1 galactic standard year. The human military fleet will be dismantled. Earth's defensive capabilities will be reduced to system defense only. This council has spoken. The hall erupted in cheers. Aliens celebrated. They had removed the threat. They had made the galaxy safe from human violence. They congratulated themselves on their wisdom. Tae-Yang sat down. He looked at the data chip one more time. Then he pulled out a small device. It was a transmitter. One button. That was all it took. He pressed it. Across the galaxy, on every civilized world, on every space station, on every ship with a communication system, a file began to download. The file was labeled, "What Really Happened at Kepler Station." Within seconds, it was on 1 million devices. Within minutes, 1 billion. The galactic network carried it to every corner of known space. It spread like fire. It could not be stopped. It could not be deleted. Vexthara noticed Tae-Yang's smile. "What have you done?" she demanded. "I have done what you would not let me do in this hall," Tae-Yang said calmly. "I have shown them the truth. You refused to watch the footage here, but now the entire galaxy will watch it. Every citizen of every world. They will see what really happened. They will see what humans really are. That is illegal," Kale shouted. "You cannot release classified material." "It is not classified," Tae-Yang interrupted. "It is the personal recording of Captain Ha-Yun. Her ship, her crew, her mission. She gave me permission to share it. And now I have." He stood and walked toward the exit. The guards did not stop him. They were too busy checking their own devices where notifications were already appearing. At the door, Tae-Yang turned back. "You voted to ban us because you fear human violence. Soon you will understand what you have really done. You have sent away the only species in this galaxy that would die to protect you. When you realize your mistake, it may be too late." The doors closed behind him. In the grand hall, counselors began receiving messages. Reports were coming in. The video was spreading. People were watching, and across the galaxy, trillions of beings pressed play. The video started simply. A date stamp appeared in the corner. 3 months ago. The location, Kepler Station. The view showed a peaceful research facility floating in space. Ships came and went. Scientists worked. Children played in the observation domes. It looked safe. It looked normal. Then everything changed. A distress signal cut through the peaceful scene. The station's commander appeared on screen. He was a Vrelian, a species known for their calm nature. But he was not calm now. His face showed pure terror. "This is Kepler Station. We are under attack. The Krell remnant has taken control. They have hostages. 847 civilians. Scientists, families, children. They are demanding 3 star systems or they will begin executions. Please, someone help us." The video showed the council's response. The message was cold and official. "Kepler Station, this is Galactic Command. The council does not negotiate with terrorists. All ships are ordered to maintain quarantine. No rescue attempts will be authorized. We cannot risk encouraging future attacks. This is unfortunate but necessary." Across the galaxy, beings watched this and understood. The council had abandoned those people. 847 lives were considered acceptable losses. It was logical. It was practical. It was the way things worked. But then the video showed a human ship. The destroyer was called Indomitable. It was 3 days away from Kepler Station. When the distress call came, Captain Ha-Yun stood on her bridge. She was young for a captain, maybe 35 years old. Her black hair was pulled back. Her uniform was neat. She looked like any other military officer in the galaxy. She listened to the council's order. No rescue attempts. Maintain quarantine. Let the hostages die. Then she turned to her crew. "There are children on that station," she said quietly. "Human children at the Cultural Exchange School. And children from 23 other species. The council says we should let them die because saving them might encourage more attacks." She paused. The bridge was silent. "I cannot accept that," Ha-Yun continued. "I will not accept that. I am going to Kepler Station. I am going to bring those people home. This violates council orders. This will probably end my career. It might end all of our lives. So I am giving each of you a choice. Anyone who wants to leave can take the shuttles. No one will judge you. This is my decision, not yours." The video showed the crew's faces. 120 people. Different ages. Different backgrounds. All of them human. They looked at each other. Then they looked at their captain. Not a single person moved toward the shuttles. Lieutenant Sung Ho, the tactical officer, spoke first. Captain, if we're doing this, we need to do it right. I'm calculating firing solutions now. Ensign Minji, the pilot, grinned. 3 days at maximum burn. I can get us there in 2.5 if I push the engines. They'll probably explode, but we'll make it. Ha-Yun nodded. Then let's go bring them home. The Indomitable changed course. It headed toward Kepler Station at a speed that should have torn the ship apart. The engines burned so hot they glowed. But Minji kept them flying. She pushed the ship beyond its limits, beyond what the designers thought possible. Across the galaxy, people watched this and started to understand something. These humans were not following orders. They were not being logical. They were doing something that made no tactical sense. They were going to save strangers. The video jumped forward. 2.5 days later, the Indomitable arrived at Kepler Station. What they found was worse than expected. 4 Krell heavy cruisers surrounded the station. Each one was bigger than the Indomitable. Each one had more weapons. Each one had more armor. By any calculation, the humans should have retreated. 1 ship against 4. Outgunned, outnumbered, out of options. Ha-Yun did not retreat. All hands, battle stations, she said. Sung-Ho, I need you to make every shot count. Minji, keep us alive as long as you can. Marines, prepare for boarding action. We're going in. What happened next would be studied in military academies for generations. The Indomitable came in fast. Too fast. The Krell ships tried to intercept. They fired missiles. They fired energy weapons. They threw everything at the human destroyer. Minji dodged. She spun the ship in ways that should have killed everyone aboard. She flew between the Krell cruisers. She used their own ships as shields. When missiles got too close, she flew toward them, forcing them to detonate early. Sung-Ho fired back. Every shot was perfect. Every shot hit weak points, engines, weapon systems, shield generators. He worked like a machine, never missing, never hesitating. But the Indomitable was taking damage. Hull breaches opened on every deck. Fires broke out in 3 sections. The medical bay was destroyed. Half the crew was wounded. The ship was dying. Ha-Yun did not stop. She brought the Indomitable alongside Kepler Station. Marines, you're up. Get those people out. You have 17 minutes before this ship falls apart. 30 Marines launched from the Indomitable. They flew across space in their armor. Plasma fire filled the void. 3 Marines died before they even reached the station. But the others kept going. They cut through the station's hull. They entered the corridors. And they began their mission. The video showed what they found inside. The Krell remnant had gathered all the hostages in the main habitat ring. 847 beings from dozens of species. They huddled together, terrified. Armed Krell surrounded them. 200 terrorists with weapons pointed at unarmed civilians. Among the hostages were children. So many children. Vrelian young ones with their tentacles wrapped around their parents. Insectoid larvae clinging to adults. Human kids, some as young as 5 years old, trying to be brave. Ha-Yun entered the habitat ring with her Marines. She saw the situation immediately. No cover, no good angles. Any firefight would kill civilians. The Krell knew it. They smiled behind their weapons. The Krell commander spoke. His translator made his words understandable. Humans, how noble. You came to die for strangers. Here are your choices. Leave now and we kill half these hostages. Stay and we kill them all. Choose. Above them, the Indomitable was failing. Sung-Ho reported engine failure. Minji reported life support was gone. They had maybe 5 minutes before the ship broke apart completely. Ha-Yun looked at the hostages. She looked at the children. She looked at her Marines. Then she made a decision that no other species would understand. Marines, she said quietly. Line formation. Between them and us, the 30 Marines moved. They did not take cover. They did not prepare to fight. They lined up between the Krell and the hostages. They stood there, completely exposed, forming a human wall. Across the galaxy, trillions of beings watching the video suddenly understood. These humans were not planning to attack. They were planning to be shields. They were going to stand there and take the bullets. They were going to die so others could live. The video showed Ha-Yun lock her armor's boots to the deck. It showed the other Marines do the same. It showed them overcharge their shield generators, burning out the systems to create a barrier. A barrier that would last maybe 30 seconds. Then Ha-Yun spoke to the Krell commander. You want to hurt someone? Start with us. 200 weapons discharged at once. Plasma bolts, Solid rounds, energy beams. Everything they had. The sound was deafening. The light was blinding. The heat was enough to melt metal. The human shields held. For 37 seconds, the Marines stood in that storm. Their armor glowed red. Their shields sparked and failed. Their systems screamed warnings. But they did not move. They did not fall back. They held the line. Behind them, the hostages were safe. The human wall blocked every shot. Not one round reached the civilians. Not one. Across the galaxy, beings watched in shock. This was not how wars were fought. This was not tactical. This was not logical. This was suicide, but it was working. Marine Namsu's armor failed first. A plasma cannon hit her directly in the chest. The shot went through her shields like they were paper. Her armor cracked. Warning lights flashed red. She was dying. She did not fall down. Instead, she charged forward. Her hands worked quickly. She activated her armor's power core overload. 3 seconds to detonation. She ran at the Krell line. Her legs pumped. Her armor was on fire. She did not care. She reached the Krell and exploded. The blast killed 15 Krell instantly. It destroyed their cover. It created an opening. The other Marines understood immediately. This was the plan. This had always been the plan. They were not just shields. They were bombs. Marine Jiwoo went next. His armor had taken 3 direct hits. It was already failing. He set his core to overload and ran forward. The Krell tried to stop him. They shot him again and again. He kept running. He reached them. He detonated. Another 20 Krell died. Then squad leader Hyunwoo charged. Then Marine Do-hyun. Then 5 more Marines together. They ran into the enemy. They embraced death. They turned themselves into weapons. The Krell began to panic. They had thought the humans were trapped. They had thought they won. But the humans were not defending. They were attacking, and they were not afraid to die. The Krell commander screamed orders. He told his troops to fall back. But it was too late. The humans were among them now. Everywhere he looked, another Marine was running toward his people. Everywhere he looked, another explosion. Corporal Youngjae grabbed a Krell terrorist. She held him tight while her armor detonated. They died together. 3 more Krell died in the blast. Marine Byung-ho's armor was so damaged he could barely walk. So he crawled. He dragged himself across the floor toward the Krell. They shot him. He kept crawling. He reached them. He smiled. Then he was gone in fire and light. In 90 seconds, 28 Marines died. Each death was a choice. Each death saved lives. Each death reduced the enemy numbers. When the smoke cleared, the Krell remnant was destroyed. 200 terrorists had become 0. They had been wiped out completely. And behind where the Marines had stood, 847 hostages were alive. Scared, traumatized, but alive. Only 2 Marines survived. Captain Hyun and Corporal Youngjae, both were badly wounded. Hyun's left arm was gone. Youngjae's armor had melted to her skin. They leaned against each other, barely conscious. Hyun spoke into her radio. Her voice was weak. "This is Captain Hyun." Mission accomplished. All civilians secured. Beginning evacuation now. The surviving crew of the Indomitable responded. Their ship was dying. They had minutes at most, but they launched every shuttle. Every escape pod. Every lifeboat. They filled them with hostages. Sung-ho coordinated the evacuation. He was calm despite the fires around him. Shuttle 1 away. Shuttle 2 away. Shuttle 3 away. He counted each one. Each shuttle was 50 people saved. Minji stayed at the helm. She was alone on the bridge now. Everyone else had evacuated or died. But someone had to keep the ship stable. Someone had to make sure the shuttles could launch. The last Krell cruiser was still fighting. It fired on the evacuation shuttles. Unarmed transports filled with children. Easy targets. Minji saw the shots coming. She had one move left. One way to save those shuttles. She aimed the Indomitable at the Krell cruiser and fired the engines. Full power. Everything the ship had left. The destroyer accelerated. It was already falling apart. Pieces of hull tore away. The frame groaned. Alarm screamed. Minji held the controls steady. "This is Ensign Minji," she said calmly. Ramming speed, the Indomitable hit the Krell cruiser at full velocity. The impact was like a star exploding. Both ships were destroyed instantly. The blast wave pushed the evacuation shuttles away, damaged but intact. Minji died at her post. She was 23 years old. The evacuations continued. Every hostage made it to a shuttle. Every child was saved. Vrelian scientists, insectoid families, human students. All of them alive because humans had died for them. Hyun and Young Jae were the last to evacuate. They had stayed behind to make sure everyone else got out first. By the time they reached the final shuttle, Kepler Station was breaking apart. They sealed themselves in a small section with 3 minutes of oxygen. Help was coming. Rescue ships had detected the explosion. But they were 10 minutes away, 3 minutes of air. 10 minutes until rescue. Young Jae laughed. It was a weak sound. We're not going to make it, Captain. Han nodded. Probably not. Was it worth it? Han looked at the datapad showing the shuttle tracking. All shuttles away, all hostages safe. 847 people going home to their families. Yes, she said. Every single death. Every sacrifice. Worth it, Young Jae smiled. Good, I just wanted to make sure. They sat in silence as the oxygen ran out. Hyun activated her final transmission. This would be recorded. This would be saved. This is Captain Hyun of the Indomitable. Mission successful. All civilians extracted and safe. We have approximately 3 minutes of oxygen remaining. If we don't make it, tell Earth we held the line. Tell the children's parents we got them out. And tell the council something for me. She paused. Her vision was getting dark. The air was almost gone. Tell them this is what humanity does. We don't calculate acceptable losses when children are at stake. We don't choose the logical option when innocents need help. We find a way to save them. Or we die trying. That's what makes us human. That's what makes us different. Another pause. Breathing was hard now. Tell them they voted to ban us because we're violent. They're right. We are violent. But only toward those who threaten the innocent. We are violent toward terrorists, toward slavers, toward anyone who hurts children. If that makes us dangerous, then yes, we're dangerous. The oxygen was gone. Hyun's eyes closed. But we're dangerous to the right people. Remember that. Hyun out. The transmission ended. The video ended. Across the galaxy, trillions of beings sat in silence. They had watched humans die. They had watched humans sacrifice everything. They had watched humans do the impossible. And they finally understood. The Council had not banned monsters. They had banned heroes. The rescue ships arrived 7 minutes after Hyun's final transmission. They found her and Young Jae floating in the wreckage. Both were unconscious. Both were barely alive. But they were alive. The galaxy held its breath as doctors worked to save them. Medical teams from 12 different species collaborated. They used every technology available. For 3 days, the 2 Marines fought for their lives. On the 3rd day, they woke up. The news spread instantly. The heroes of Kepler Station survived. People celebrated on worlds that had never heard of Earth before. Statues were already being planned. Monuments were being designed. But something else was happening too. Something the Galactic Council had not expected. People were angry. On the Vrelian homeworld, thousands gathered outside the Council embassy. They held signs. They chanted. 47 Vrelian children had been on Kepler Station. All 47 came home because humans saved them. And the Council had voted to ban those same humans. A Vrelian mother stood on the steps of the embassy. Her daughter held her hand. The child was 6 years old. She had been on the station. The mother spoke to the cameras. Her voice was steady, but her eyes were fierce. My daughter is alive because a human named Jiwoo carried her through fire. His armor was burning. He was wounded, but he did not put her down until she was safe. Then he went back for more children. He died saving strangers, and your council called his species violent. She looked directly at the embassy building. You should be ashamed. The video went viral. Within hours, similar protests started on other worlds. The Thalaxian government, which had voted for the ban, issued a formal apology. Their statement was simple. We were wrong. We thought humans were dangerous. We did not understand. They are not dangerous. They are protective. There is a difference. Military commanders across the galaxy began studying the Kepler Station footage. They watched it again and again. They analyzed every decision, every tactic, every move. Admiral Kresh was a respected military leader. He had fought in 30 battles. He had trained for 50 years. He understood warfare better than almost anyone. He watched the footage 12 times. Then he called a press conference. I have been asked to analyze the human tactics at Kepler Station, he said. I have done so. My conclusion is this. We have been thinking about humans incorrectly. He brought up images from the battle. We called humans aggressive. We called them violent. We called them dangerous. Look at this footage. Look carefully. Every single action they took was defensive. He pointed at the screen. When they violated the quarantine, they were defending hostages. When they engaged the Krell ships, they were defending the station. When they formed that line, when they sacrificed themselves, they were defending innocence. Not once did they attack for conquest. Not once did they fight for resources. Every bullet they fired was to protect someone else. Kresh paused. The room was silent. Humans are not an aggressive species, he continued. They are a defensive species that has evolved to perfection. They have turned protection into an art form. They have made sacrifice into a weapon, and we just banned them because we were afraid. He looked at the camera. We should not fear them. We should learn from them. Because in 10,000 years of galactic history, no species has ever shown this level of dedication to protecting others. No one. News networks tracked down the survivors from Kepler Station. They interviewed the people humans had saved. Every interview told the same story. Humans had risked everything for strangers. An insectoid scientist described how Marine Hyunwoo had shielded him with his own body. 3 shots hit his armor. 3 shots that would have killed me. He took them without hesitation. Then he smiled at me and said everything would be okay. How can you call that violent? A group of children drew pictures for the humans who saved them. The pictures showed Marines with wings. Angels, they called them. Human angels who came when everyone else said it was impossible. The most powerful interview came from Do-hyun's mother. Her son had died on Kepler Station. He was 24 years old. He had set his armor to explode and charged into the enemy. She sat calmly as reporters asked their questions. Her face showed grief but also pride. Your son died violently, a reporter said. Does this not prove the council was right to fear humans? Do-hyun's mother looked at the reporter for a long moment. Then she spoke. My son did not die violently. He died protecting. There is a difference. Violence is attacking the weak. Protection is defending them. My son saw children who needed help. He saw families who would die. And he chose to save them at the cost of his own life. That is not violence. That is love. She stood up. If the galaxy cannot understand the difference, then perhaps the galaxy is the one that is primitive. Perhaps the galaxy is the one that needs to evolve. She walked out. The interview ended, but her words echoed across every civilized world. 3 weeks after the footage was released, the Galactic Council faced a crisis. Public opinion had turned completely. Citizens demanded the ban be reversed. Governments threatened to leave the council. Trade agreements were being canceled. But there was something else. Something more immediate. Something dangerous. Pirate attacks had increased 400%. The human fleet had been patrolling the outer sectors. When the ban was announced, the humans withdrew as ordered. They pulled back to their home system, and in the space they left behind, criminals moved in. Slave traders raided colony worlds. Pirates attacked merchant ships. Warlords claimed territory. The galaxy was becoming lawless. Species that had mocked humanity now begged for their return. The same counselors who voted for the ban now sent desperate messages to Earth. Please help us. Please come back. But Earth's response was cold. Ambassador Taeyang spoke for his government. You voted. You decided. We respected your decision. Now respect ours. We are staying home. Minister Kale, who had led the arguments against humanity, now found himself leading a different campaign. He traveled to dozens of worlds. He spoke to governments and citizens. He admitted he had been wrong. I judged humans without understanding them, he said publicly. I saw their strength and assumed they were predators. I saw their weapons and assumed they were conquerors. I was a fool. The footage from Kepler Station shows what humans really are. They are guardians. They are protectors. They are what every species should aspire to be. Still, Earth refused to return. The ban had hurt. The accusations had wounded. Humanity had tried to help and been punished for it. They would not come back just because the galaxy suddenly needed them. It took Counselor Vexithera to change things. She had led the campaign against humans. Her speech had compared them to the ancient Krell. Her vote had sealed the ban. Now she requested an emergency council session. All 847 species attended. The hall was packed. Beings wanted to hear what she would say. Vexithera stood at the central podium. She looked old suddenly, tired. She had watched the footage like everyone else. She had seen what humans did, and she had realized her mistake. "I was wrong," she began. Her voice was quiet but carried through the hall. "I led you all to make a terrible decision. I convinced you that humans were dangerous. I was right about one thing. They are dangerous. But I was wrong about everything else." She activated the hologram. It showed the Kepler station footage. The Marines forming their line. The sacrifices. The impossible rescue. Humans are dangerous to slavers, to pirates, to terrorists, to anyone who threatens innocence. That does not make them our enemy. That makes them exactly what this galaxy needs. She looked around the hall. "I move to reverse the ban immediately. And I propose more. I propose we offer humanity permanent seats on both the Security Council and the Ethics Committee. We need their perspective. We need their courage. We need them to teach us what we have forgotten. We have forgotten that some things are worth dying for." The vote was called. This time there was no debate. This time everyone understood. The result, 847 votes to reverse the ban. 0 opposed, unanimous. Ambassador Taiyang returned to the Grand Hall. The same hall where humans had been banned. The same hall where aliens had laughed at him. But everything was different now. When he entered, the entire council stood. 847 species rose to their feet. They did not speak. They did not need to. The gesture said everything. Taiyang walked to the human table. He was still alone. Earth had not sent more representatives. They wanted to hear what the council would say first. Vexithara addressed him directly. "Ambassador Taiyang, on behalf of the Galactic Council, I offer humanity a formal apology. We were wrong. We judged your species without understanding. We saw violence where there was protection. We saw danger where there was courage. We ask for your forgiveness, and we ask for your return." Taiyang stood silent for a moment. Then he spoke. "You ask for forgiveness. I appreciate that. But I need you to understand something. We did not show you that footage to change your vote. We showed it to you so you would understand who we are." He activated his own hologram. It showed Captain Howen in her hospital bed. She was awake now, recovering. Her left arm was gone, but she was alive. What happened at Kepler Station is not special for humans. It is not unusual. It is Tuesday. Every human ship operates under the same principle Captain Ha-Yun demonstrated. We do not leave people behind. We do not calculate acceptable losses. We do not choose the logical option when children are dying. He looked around the hall. "You voted to ban us because we are violent. You were right. We are violent toward threats. We are violent toward those who hurt innocents. If that makes us dangerous, then yes, we are dangerous. But we are dangerous to the right people." The hall was absolutely silent. "Earth accepts the reversal of the ban." Taiyang continued. "We accept the council positions you have offered. But understand this. By giving us those positions, you have changed something fundamental. You have expanded our mission. Before we protected humans. Now you are asking us to protect everyone." He smiled slightly. "We accept. We will protect you as we protect our own, because that is what humans do. That is what we have always done, and now you are all our people." Vexithara nodded. "Thank you, Ambassador. When can the human fleet return to patrol duties?" "They already left Earth 3 days ago," Taiyang said. "We knew you would reverse the ban. We knew you would understand eventually. The fleet is already en route to the outer sectors. They will arrive within the week." Minister Kale stood. "How did you know we would change our minds?" Taiyang looked at him. "Because you are not stupid. You are not evil. You were just afraid. Once you understood what you were really afraid of, once you understood the difference between aggression and protection, the choice was obvious." The council session ended. Humanity was back, but things would never be the same. 6 months passed. Changes swept across the galaxy. The human fleet expanded. More ships were built. More Marines were trained. But now they did not serve alone. Mixed crews became normal. On every human warship, there were officers from other species, learning, training, understanding the human way. A Vrelian navigator served on a human destroyer. An insectoid weapons officer learned human tactics. A reptilian marine trained alongside human soldiers. They learned what it meant to hold the line. They learned what it meant to protect others at any cost. The Galactic Security Force was reformed. Captain Hyun, recovered from her injuries, was offered command. She accepted. Her flagship was the rebuilt Indomitable, same name, same mission, but now with a crew from 30 different species. On the hull of the new Indomitable, a memorial was installed. It listed every crew member who died at Kepler Station. 86 names. 86 humans who gave everything. Below the names, a single phrase was inscribed in 847 languages. Every language of every species in the Council. The phrase was simple. They calculated differently. The Council also established a new holiday, Remembrance Day. Once a year, every world would observe a moment of silence. They would remember Kepler Station. They would remember the sacrifice. They would remember that some things are worth dying for. The first Remembrance Day came 6 months after the ban was reversed. Hyun was asked to give the keynote speech. She stood before representatives from every species. Her left arm was prosthetic now, but she stood straight and proud. Today we remember, she began. We remember the 86 humans who died at Kepler Station. We remember Marine Namsu, who charged into enemy fire. We remember Ensign Minji, who crashed her ship to save evacuation shuttles. We remember every name on that memorial. She paused. But we also remember something else. We remember the 847 people they saved. We remember the children who went home to their parents. We remember the families that stayed together. That is why they died. That is what made their sacrifice meaningful. Hyun looked across the crowd. The universe is not safe. It will never be completely safe. There will always be threats. There will always be people who want to hurt others. We cannot stop that, but we can make it safer. Every time we choose to stand between danger and innocence, the universe becomes safer. Every time we refuse to accept acceptable losses, it becomes safer. Every time we hold the line, it becomes safer. She smiled. This is not just the human way. This is the right way. And now we will do it together. Humans and Vrelians, humans and insectoids, humans and every species in this galaxy. We will protect each other. We will sacrifice for each other. We will hold the line together. The crowd erupted in applause. It lasted 5 minutes. Beings from hundreds of worlds stood and cheered. They understood now. They finally understood. After the ceremony, Hyun met with some of the survivors from Kepler Station. They came from dozens of species. They brought their children. The children that had been saved. A small Vrelian girl approached Hyun. She was one of the children Marine Jiwoo had carried to safety. She held out a drawing. It showed a human in armor with wings, an angel. This is Jiwoo, the girl said quietly. He saved me. Is he really gone? Hyun knelt down. She looked at the drawing. Yes, he is gone. But what he did will never be forgotten. Because of him, you are here. Because of him, you get to grow up. That was his gift to you. The girl hugged her. Hyun held her gently. Around them, other survivors talked with other humans. They shared stories. They cried together. They remembered together. Across the galaxy, similar scenes played out. On every world, beings gathered to remember, to honor, to understand. Pirate attacks dropped by 90% within 3 months. Slavers disappeared from entire sectors. The criminals learned quickly. Humans were back. And humans did not negotiate. Humans did not calculate. Humans simply came and stopped them. One pirate captain was caught after raiding a colony. He was interviewed before his trial. The reporter asked why he had thought attacking the colony was a good idea. The pirate laughed bitterly. I thought the humans were still banned. I thought I had time. I was wrong. They came for us like demons, like nothing I have ever seen. We surrendered immediately, because the alternative was death. Were you afraid? The reporter asked. Terrified, the pirate admitted. Not because they were cruel. Because they were determined. They were not going to stop until every colonist was safe. Nothing I did mattered. They were going to win. So I surrendered. He looked at the camera. Tell everyone. Tell all the criminals. The humans are back. And they are not like the council. They do not make deals. They do not calculate costs. They come for you, and they will not stop. The interview went viral. Crime rates dropped further. Beings felt safer. For the first time in decades, the outer colonies thrived. A year after Kepler Station, the Indomitable returned to Earth for the first time. Hyun stood on the bridge as her ship entered orbit. She looked at the blue planet below. Home. Young Jae stood beside her. She had recovered too. She was now Hyun's first officer. They had survived together. They would serve together. Do you think they understand now? Young Jae asked. The Council. The Galaxy. Do they really understand what we did? Hyun thought about it. She thought about the footage that changed everything. She thought about her crew that died. She thought about the children they saved. Some do, she said finally. Some understand completely. Others are learning. But it does not matter if they understand. It only matters that we do. We know why we fight. We know what we protect. That is enough, Young Jae nodded. When do we leave again? 2 weeks, Hyun said. We have new crew members to train. Frelians, insectoids, they need to learn our ways. Will they understand? The human way? Hyun smiled. They will. Because it is not really the human way. It is just the right way. Anyone can learn it. Anyone can choose to protect instead of attack. Anyone can choose to sacrifice for others. That is what we will teach them. The Indomitable stayed in orbit for 2 weeks. Then it left again. It headed back to the outer sectors. Back to patrol. Back to protect. On the hull, the memorial gleamed in the starlight. 86 names. 86 heroes. And below them, the phrase that said everything they calculated differently. The galaxy had learned its lesson. Humans were not monsters. They were not conquerors. They were guardians. They were the ones who came when everyone else said it was impossible. They were the ones who held the line, and now they were not alone. Hundreds,